Welcome back to the 6th episode of the Dan and Tyler Show. I am Dan, and this is Tyler.
What's up, everybody? Before we get to the introduction of today's special guest, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit that bell so you know when our next video comes out. And make sure you comment because we want to hear what you guys think about our videos, okay?
Yeah, comment whether you like us or hate us. We want those comments in. We want to know. So like Tyler said, we have a special guest with us today.
Woo.
His name is Deja Solo. He is not only a singer, he is a songwriter and producer, and we are very happy to have you on today. Thank you, Deja, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Awesome. So yeah, we're gonna be asking you some questions today. So obviously, what made you start your path of music?
That's a great question, man. I think for me, like growing up, it was kind of hectic, right? There was a lot of stuff going on. You know, I don't want to say that it was like a bad upbringing or anything like that, but you know, there was always something going on, and I think that music very quickly became something for me where not only could I feel like I was escaping the world I was in, but I felt like I could kind of create a new world in my mind,
Sure.
right? So a lot of like the earliest records I would be spinning when I was kind of a conscious little dude was that I don't know if you remember when Linkin Park and Jay-Z came out with the album.
Sure.
That for me, because like bro, growing up like black, right? It's like in Spanish, you kind of have a certain way you got to be if you a dude. So when they came out with the album, it was almost like up until that point, I felt kind of ashamed, like in rock and roll, because I liked a lot of like Jimi Hendrix. Like one of the first songs I learned how to play on the guitar was an AC/DC song. So you know, like I like a lot of rock and roll, and a lot of people, you know, they like the hip hop. But when they made the album, for me, it was like this confirmation of them two worlds merging. So it was a combination of, you know, like I was saying, that escapism and kind of like this creative side of my brain. When I got older, you know, I was watching a lot of these artists, and you know, I'd be in school, they'd be teaching stuff, but I'd be thinking about art, man. I'd be thinking about music. Like, you know, I watch it, I'd see a video, like or something, right? And then like I'd be at school, like trying to think of a music video for myself. Like when I was young, I was always like that. It was like I would see something or hear something cool, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to go make something like that. So I remember I was 8 years old, right? And when I was a kid, I really liked Star Wars. I still love Star Wars. I don't want to say I liked it. I love Star Wars still to this day. I rock with Star Wars. Like they could be like, yo, we just dropped a movie with Danny DeVito, and he's the main character. He's in a Darth Vader. So I'd be the first dude in line. I'd be like, yo, let's go.
That'd be funny.
But no, I sold all of my Star Wars VHS tapes. I had like a little yard sale with my boy. His name's Peter. And we had started a band at the time. We were pretty serious. It was Black Plague. We wanted to be the new thrash metal band. We wanted to be like Metallica, because that's the records I was spinning at, like Master of Puppets and stuff. But I remember I sold all those records, and I got my first microphone. And that was when I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. Like that's when 8 years old, I was kind of sold out for the music thing. I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. And back to Star Wars. So your name, Deja Solo, where does that come from? Does that come from Star Wars, like Han Solo, or?
No, it's funny you asked that. Actually, my name has gone through some changes. So a couple of years ago, it actually used to be Deja December. And some of my like hardcore fans like remember like when I was
back in
just
2017.
Yeah, so just dropping like SoundCloud tracks under Deja December, and I was rocking with it. But like that was kind of for me when I was like not me formed as an artist. Deja Solo kind of came from a period of my life where personally I've been going through so much. Where like I literally had to look at something that I've been doing my whole life, like music, and be like, yo, is this really what I want to do? Like, is this really me? And that's even why I changed the name. So the Deja part actually comes from, I'm a huge fan of the Matrix movies. And in the Matrix, the philosophy is that a deja vu is like a glitch in the system, or that like they're trying to change something. It's like Neo walking up the stairs with all of them, and then like deja vu, and they're like, what? He's like, I thought I saw something like deja vu, and they're like, oh, and they all start like tripping and going up the stairs. And like to me, a Deja in my philosophy represents being a glitch in the system we have today, and like that I'm trying to change something. And then Solo, like you said, it do come from Star Wars, because one of the things I loved about Star Wars, man, is like you have this group of nobodies from nowhere trying to like change the world. And like the thing I liked about Han Solo, I loved Han Solo girl. I wanted to be Han Solo. So like I loved him because it was like this dude, although all this crazy stuff was going on, he was keeping his cool.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like say what you want about the character, this dude was always willing to risk his life for his friends. Like you know, in the episode 5 when when Luke get lost out in Hoth, and everyone's like, he's like, "Yo, does anyone seen Luke?" And they're like, "Oh nah, like he's not coming back." And he's like, "Yo, I'm going out there." And they're like, "You'll literally die if you go out there." And he's like, "All right, I guess I'll see you in hell then." And that to me, like as a young kid, I was like, "Yo, I want to be like that. I want to be someone who like." No matter what, I would be there for my friends. And like no matter what the odds are saying, no matter what people are saying about, oh, you can't do this, there's no way, I'm gonna be the guy that's like, well, watch me then. And if I don't, then you can be at my funeral and say I told you so. So that to me, the Solo came when I kind of developed that kind of confidence for myself, because it was December before, and I had this whole thing with like cold and winter, trying to be all edgy. But the Solo thing really came when I kind of developed that personality part for myself of like, sticking to my convictions. And, I actually have a tattoo on me. You can't see it right now, but it's of the Millennium Falcon. It says, "Never tell me the odds."
Nice.
That's one of my favorite things this dude ever says, because that's how the world is, man. They'll be like, "Yo, you can't do this. This is the statistics of the possibility." And Solo says,
"You got to beat the odds."
Don't tell me the odds, dude. I'm gonna fly this ship right into the dock, and you can watch me do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And back in Deja December, you were grinding on SoundCloud, but now that you're Deja Solo, I mean, like back in Deja December, you've had a couple of songs on iTunes, but now that you're Deja Solo, you've been going crazy, which it's really cool to see. Just sitting back and watching you, it's awesome. But you came out with your first debut album, which congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's Solo Volume 1, correct?
Yeah, Young Solo Volume 1.
Yeah, Young Solo.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How much time did you have to put into that album?
A lot. Not as much as I honestly wanted to, but a lot. That was actually towards the beginning of like the whole pandemic thing. So I kind of
April 2020, right?
Yeah. So
right at the beginning.
Yep. And my job had actually shut down about I think it was a month and a half before I dropped the album.
Okay.
So I took that as an opportunity to like, all right, I don't have a job. Things are kind of hectic right now in the world. Let me just make some music. Let me go back to my roots and just put my head in the game. So I pretty much spent like 12-hour days for like a month straight, just like making different songs, like writing different things. And I decided to make it kind of like a mixtape in a sense, because like I'm a huge fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Me too.
Stuff, right?
Huge, massive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like Star-Lord's my man, because I like Han Solo, and Star-Lord's kind of like an inspiration of that.
Yeah.
And
I could quote that movie all night.
Yeah, like all of them, bro. Like any Marvel movies, I'll rock with those.
Absolutely, yeah.
But for me, like I wanted to make something that was kind of like it consisted of just different vibes, because I I really be listening to my music so sporadically. It is very ubiquitous. There might be like an indie track, and then all of a sudden there's like this like hard rap song, and then there's like this soft like British rock band. Like it's kind of everywhere. So I kind of wanted to make something like that. So that's pretty much what that album consists of.
Yeah.
But it was about like a month and a half of like 12-14 hour days of just like writing whatever.
Yeah, so that song, that album, you have it's listed as alternative, but a lot of it, like you said, kind of bounces all over the spectrum. So you have a lot of hip hop on there, you have a lot of rock, and you have a lot of alternative as it's listed. So you have kind of like all genres. And if you look back in your music, you have a lot of it listed as hip hop, like early on in the day, and rock. but now you're kind of like dipping your feet in all the genres, which is really cool to see. And it's edgy, and it's also sketchy as a music artist, but it seems to be working out for you, which is awesome.
Well, it's disruptive, like you said. It's very disruptive. You're trying to
yeah, no, and that's exactly the point.
Barrier.
Yeah, because I think like musicians or just artists in general, we kind of tend to do this thing where, because of the way that the machine functions, we just assume, okay, well, we just have to do it this way. We just got to do it this way. This is how everyone else has succeeded. This is how everyone else makes it work. And I'm just one of those people that calls BS on that. I'm like, no, there's another way. And I think there's a more honest way. And I think there's a more articulate way of going about these things. And I guess what I'm really speaking on specifically is this idea that, okay, well, he did a hip hop song. He's a rapper now. And it's like, I would never call myself a rapper for myriad of reasons, but the first two, most importantly, would be number one, I'm not in the lane where I can even call myself a master of that craft. Right. So like, but I am in the lane where I could produce something like a song that's a rap song, and maybe it might be good, but I would never dare like go into New York and be like, hey guys, I'm the greatest rap artist of all time. It's like because I don't strive for that. I strive to be the greatest artist of all time. So what I'm attempting to do is really just make a genre that is expression. That's what a lot of people ask me, and a lot of people want to field me for like, oh, what kind of music you make, man? And it's like, sometimes I'll joke, I'll tell them like, if you gave Bon Iver like hip hop and R&B, but like at the end of the day, it's really expression, bro. Like I just express who I am over whatever instrumentation inspires me. It could be like an R&B vibe. It could be a straight up rock and roll song, and that's why guys like Kid Cudi inspire me, because he had that in one of his first mixtapes. A Kid Named Cudi, a song called 50 Ways to Make a Record. That song changed my life, bro, because I was listening to it, and it's just like, yo, you could literally spin this so many different ways and like do it the way everyone wants or do it the way that you want. At the end of the day, it's like, are you going to be satisfied with it? Mm-hmm. So my attempt as Deja Solo is like not to be like the rapper or to be like the R&B dude or the singing guy. It's like, I just want to be an artist and inspire people. And like let them, like when they hear my art, they're like, man, maybe I can go make something.
Yeah, it's not about being one person. It's being true to yourself and what you like and what's your passion. And yeah, that's some good stuff.
Because ultimately, that's going to get you further than being something you're not, or trying to sing about stuff that isn't really that important.
Not according to the system, but it's working.
Well, yeah, I think, and like a lot of people get caught in this trap of like, okay, I want to be successful, so I have to present myself as like I'm the greatest in this field, when like they have no right to even be in that whatsoever. It's like, okay, well, you kind of have to approach things with a lot more humility if you want to be someone who's going to be of any type of lasting greatness. At least I think so.
Sure. Yeah. And, it takes a lot of, you got to be humble pretty much for, especially being an artist. And, well, I had a quick question. So we have Young Solo Volume 1. Is there a 2 coming up? And can we be expecting a Volume 2?
Yes. Actually, 100%.
I will say one of the songs off that album, one of my favorite songs, is Heaven Part 1.
In Part 1?
Is there a Part 2 coming?
Yes.
My second question.
Is. I actually was in the studio 2 days ago working on Heaven Part 2.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones off
Thank you, man.
Young Solo 1. It's really good. So
what do you like about it?
I don't know. So the beat is obviously the beat's amazing. And then just your flow it's very very unique. It's very unique. That's probably what the most thing I like about it. But it's just the flow. It's so good. And really looking forward to a part 2 of that song. So that was like the first question I thought of, like when Derek, shout out to Derek, our media guy. Apex Studios over here.
Yes.
This episode is sponsored by Apex Studios, putting the studio together for you. Apex Studios,
high quality sound, 4K for cameras.
Very great pictures too. This guy actually has done a lot of the pictures that I used to promote.
Yeah, I think
he makes me look pretty, and that's a very hard thing to do.
He took the picture of you on this thumbnail, so yeah, shout out to Derek over there at Apex Studios.
Thank you, Derek. You do a great job, man.
So when he approached me, and obviously I've known you for a little bit too, just kind of in passing. And when he was like, "Oh, do you want to have a Deja Solo?" And I was like, "Oh, of course." And like the first thing that popped in my head was part one. Is there going to be a part two? And then I was thinking about like the album, your first debut album. Is there going to be a volume two? So that's really cool to hear that you're already working on it. So
I
really
appreciate you asking that, man.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and just like, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the first, mixtape, it consisted of a lot of stuff that reminded him of his mom, right? Like it was kind of like this representation of his separation from where he was from and where he wanted to go. And then the second one, it was kind of more like stuff that reminded him of him and his dad.
Sure.
Right. So it kind of like dealt with the more like masculine aspects of what was going on with him emotionally. So I'm kind of doing that same exact thing with Volume 2. As I'm not going to give too much, but this one's going to be a lot more directional when it comes to the essence of the album and like what I'm really going to be talking about. Because like in the first one, like you can hear me like I have some tones of like talking about like love and intimate stuff, like all these different things. But this one's going to deal with like just some different elements. So yeah, you'll get that Heaven Part 2. There's gonna be some like different stuff on there. I'm really excited for y'all to hear it.
So that's interesting. So talking about it from a creative standpoint, because I'm like myself, I'm very numerical. I think about things like numbers wise and very good dollars and cents, that kind of thing. Horrible creativity wise, like that, right? So walk me through how you think about it, how it goes from pen to paper, ultimately how it ends up on a track or a record like that. Like how do you you must obviously think about stuff and then ultimately ends up in a song, but how do you
what's your creative process?
Yeah, the creative process. And then that was really interesting to have you talk about the emotions of a female perception and then from a masculine perception as well. So walk me through how you came up with that, and then did you pull that from Guardians of the Galaxy, or did you kind of like internalize it when you were watching that? Not watching it, but when you were kind of going through it, did you basically just walk me through how you think about things? I guess
that's a great question, man.
I'm the last guy who would be able to write a song, or
it's hard, man. And I think people that are numerical like yourself, I actually applaud, because that's a whole another side of the brain that requires focus and discipline and intelligence. That I think we're all blessed to have people like you that can hold down that side of the world. But for the creative process, for me, I know it looks different for everybody. For me, it really comes down to inspiration. Okay. So like I said, when I was a kid, there was certain, chaos around me.
Of course.
And I love the idea that Deja Solo could bring someone else out of their own personal chaos. So a lot of times I try to either write something that I know inspires me or something that I believe would inspire someone else. So, because I've always been creative, a lot of times I'll listen to a song, and if I'm really feeling it, I'll begin to honestly just start singing whatever comes to mind, kind of like a freestyle in a way.
Okay.
And if I like the way that it sounds, then I'll put some words to it. I kind of take this from the closest thing I could think of is the lead singer of Sigur Rós. Oftentimes he'll actually sing and record, and he's Icelandic, but the band is Icelandic as well.
Okay.
But sometimes the words that he's saying are actually not real words. They're just expressions of what he's saying. I've always loved that. So I try to do that with my songs. Like, for instance, the song Blackout. It's kind of one of my more popular ones off the EP I did in January, the beginning of the year. I literally just heard this song. It was like, it had this guitar that I loved. I loved the tone. And when I heard it, I just thought of the phrase, baby, don't you black out. Like, it was like, baby, don't you black out. Because it was like, no. Like, it was very, it just, something about the guitar, like, just, it was like talking to me.
Of course.
And then I heard a beat that kind of had like these 808s behind it. And then I heard that, and I was just chilling. I just went, and then it was like, oh shoot, that's something. So for me, the creative process is almost like this. It's like this game of like digging through my mind, because it'll be like, okay, maybe I heard something that inspired me over here, and I like locked it away, and then it'll develop, or it'll just be all right in one session. Like for instance, the song Cusack. Um, I did that all in just like a 15-minute like session. It was like,
You got it like that.
yeah,
Comes
because
right out. And
yeah, because it again, it all comes down to inspiration for me. And like I was feeling good. Like I just things were going good with me and my girl. And I was like, man, I'm at my Cusac right now. I'm gonna write a love song. And I went and I put on, just some beats that it was like, I like the style of them or the genre because I really do like guitar. I say it all the time. It's actually in my Spotify bio. I say I'm a hip hop baby with a rock star's heart. Like I love both worlds, but like I always kind of geek over certain things. But anyways, I listened to that, and it was like, for your love, I'm a fool now. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I just kept going, man. Like because it was just my heart. Like it was what I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I, listened to it a couple times. I was like, all right, I guess I'll keep that. And that's what I'll do with my music is I use it as a tool to excavate my mind and to bring out ideas and form them. Like for instance, another part of your question I want to make sure I answer. You asked me how I came up with the concept even of like the feminine and masculine thing.
Yeah.
I did some like religious studies after high school because I've always just been interested in stuff like that. Like I love just knowledge, like getting more knowledge about whatever it is that people believe in.
Knowledge is power.
That's a fact. And something that was very clear to me is that regardless of the time frame, people are always in need of a transcendental spiritual reference point. And what I mean by that is in every time frame, like so let's say like back in Jesus' time, like nobody really heard nobody talk that way about stuff until he did it. Because everyone had like their way of operating and their way of going about things and their way of keeping the peace.
Right.
But Buddha, Jesus, a lot of these different figures figured out a way to almost usurp the culture at the time in a way that was peaceful, but in a way that was disruptive enough to make people redirect the way that they were going about things. So I became obsessed with this thought that, okay, maybe a lot of these people were writing about, and I'm not I don't really like get religious or talk about religion, but I think that it's just the like if we look at like the conscious concept of religion, like the idea of like, okay, I'm believing in something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people they they're like starving for it in like today's day and age. Like we don't have like a reference point for like, oh, this is a good person to be like in like a spiritual way. So I kind of wanted to create albums or music or just any art that could give people that reference point because nobody really knows how, like you can't, and I don't want to hate on anybody's religion, but like it's really hard to apply Christianity to like today's vernacular. Mm-hmm. Right? Like there's a lot day. Like 2021 is wild. So like if you try to like apply like ancient stuff to today, like you have to either be what like well versed in it or just I don't know, crazy. It's like it's very hard to and I feel like we need like a new way of looking at things. So my music is kind of a new way of looking at things for people. So like for instance, in the song Skater Girl, I say
banger though.
Thank you.
Banger.
I said, I don't need a bust down. And like in hip hop, it's like, and just in culture today, like, pop culture, it's like, oh, I need the jewelry, I need the fancy car, I need this. And like, I'm trying to dismantle that basically because I don't think that that's important. I think that is important for some people, but I think at large, it's something that needs to be dismantled. So like, I'm trying to use Deja Solo, my albums, and anybody that would like listen to it, hopefully it's like I'm using it as a tool to just like any of these other like historical spiritual figures to try to like change the way they look at themselves and change the way they look at society to maybe try to progress in a different way. So like someone understanding something from a feminine position and then a masculine position might actually allow them to in like a song context,
right,
like might allow them to maybe make better decisions. Because like there's a lot of times where people don't understand how much of an influence like an artist has. It's like we literally shape and make the culture. Like
in today's world.
Yes, like the artist, if you're like Drake or something, right, and you go out and you're wearing a certain type of hat, there's a demographic of people who are all going to be wearing that type of hat now.
Absolutely.
And anything else, like all that, all that other stuff is like trash because this is our reference point. So like, and it's getting to the point now, and I'm not really trying to trash any other artists in particular. I'm just saying that like, there's a lack of responsibility when it comes to like the effect of artists to the culture. So I'm basically just trying to like present maybe just something a little different where it's like maybe I'm not talking about designer clothes and I'm not talking about like
G5s.
Yeah, G5s or infidelity or like, you know, like none of that. Cause like, and that's cool. Like people have their thing, but like I want to give something for someone to be like, yo, maybe I was wrong in this situation. Maybe I should go apologize. Like I want to give substance to somebody who's actually looking for substance. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you unique, is you're not trying to follow like every other person in the music industry, and it's you know, I think it's working out for you pretty well. So
thank you, man.
That's all.
The reason I can't though, it's like I feel like there's two sides of it. There's people that demonize the fame stuff, and like there's of course always gonna be bad sides to everything. I don't think that every person who's like famous and successful is like an awful person for doing so, but I think like maybe it'd be kind of cool if we had some people who like things other than like debauchery. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, again, I don't hate on nobody for their lifestyle, but I think it'd be cool if we had some other options for like people to look up to. Like when I think about my nephew, right? It's like, oh shoot, this dude's looking up to some people that maybe you don't want to be like them when you're 30.
Right.
You know? Sneaking around. I see you over there.
Technical support from Derek over there in the corner.
Yep. Thanks, Derek. Shout out, Derek.
Shout out, Derek.
So you had your newest single, I think it came out a couple months ago, Rain. I just want to say your falsetto is actually pretty impressive.
Thank you. Super shout out to Teo. That's my producer who kind of like supplies some of my best beats. Honestly, like any of my songs that are fire or considered fire, it's usually Teo on the other side, like making those beats. But
Did he help you with LeBron?
LeBron, no, actually,
Okay.
that one was a self-contained. I have a couple artists producers that I kind of go to. They're what I call like free for profit producers.
Sure.
This one in particular was Pink. Shout out Pink. He actually made a lot of the records on Young Solo. So like Go Ahead, that was Pink. Finis Temporum was also Pink. And Hiver, the first track, so a lot of them.
Hiver, it was the first. Can you talk about Hiver a little bit on your? It's the first song on your album. What exactly? What's the background behind that song?
Yeah, so I was gonna call it Cold, but I didn't want to do that because like there's a lot of songs called Cold, and I was like, man, this is not cool.
Yeah, you got cold, yeah, Stone, right?
That's so cool.
Yeah,
but one of my favorite artists of all time, Bon Iver. And he gets his name from the phrase Bon Iver, French phrase. He kind of took the H out just to be cool. But it's this show, Northern Exposure, where he was watching it while he was sick one time. And basically in the show, they have the first snowfall of the year, this little town in Alaska. And every first snowfall of the year, they go out into the town square and they all wish each other a Bon Iver, which means a good winter. So it's like, and he loved that idea. And obviously I love that idea. I think that's so beautiful, like this idea of, hey, we all might be suffering and the crops might be dying, but good luck. You know, it's like that's kind of it's a cool way to look at life, man, because that's honestly how it be. So that was his inspiration, and that inspired me. I mean, a lot of his albums, Forever Ago, Bon Iver, 22 Million, especially, like these albums carried me through dark times, man. Like bad breakups and just like mental spots that I just felt like I couldn't get out. It'd be like this dude wouldn't drop an album for like 5 years, and then on the 5th year I'd be going through some crazy stuff, and he'd be like, all right, here's another album. And that to me, it's like combined with the meaning of his name, it was like, man, good winter. Have a good winter. So to me, it always meant like whatever you going through, like go through it well, like to go through it, you know. So
And that's kind of like how your first name was, or not your first name, but Deja December. It was just kind
yeah.
of like the whole concept of being cold in the winter and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
well, and that came from I actually I don't want to get too dark here, but I did have an attempt on my life in December, so that was actually why I had the December thing. It was kind of focused on me, you know, coming out of that and living my life instead. But Bon Iver to me represents like this idea of changing your suffering by the way you look at it, like it's your perspective, right? So um, that just really like to me, Bon Iver is like one of the reasons I can like do music so confidently and kind of in my own identity. So like naming the song Hiver, however you want to say it, is kind of like it's a tip under the hat to Justin Vernon to be like, you know, hey, thank you for inspiring me, because that's like my first distributed album. So I was like, you know, let me start it off right. Let me give a little nod, you know.
sure. Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. We're going to take a quick break here and cut to the latest music video by Deja Solo, shot by Apex Studios. It's called Wicked Bogus Kid.
Tell me how far you got. The winds ain't attached at the moment. You notice when it shows grace, that's bogus. That's bogus.
All right, welcome back, guys. Wow, that was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
So I had a question. So if you were to collaborate with any musician other than Kid Cudi, who would it be?
Oh, damn. Great question. I mean, Kid Cudi definitely would be on the list. I think it'd be really interesting to see a song with Post Malone. I think
Ooh.
we would both tear it up. You
Yeah.
know, the melodies. Definitely have to have Kanye in there. I think it'd be impossible to get him in the studio, but if we could,
If he shows up,
if we
yeah.
could both rein in our ADHD tendencies, I think we could make something good. But no, I think a weird feature of mine. I think I'd really want. I think I'd really want the dude that sang that song from Gautier. That dude, he like disappeared from
Planet.
from the planet, but
Yeah.
didn't have to cut me up. That dude, I would love to just have a hook with him on there, you know. But yeah, definitely him. You know, Kanye.
Well, he's still coming out with music, but I feel like he's not as relevant as he was. I think he just, a lot of people say the one hit wonder, but like literally, because he still had music after that, but it just, I don't know, for some reason it did not take.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't take off.
I think
But,
it was
you
because he
know,
was trying to like stick with the same thing and just like copy it. Like, oh, so this one was popular, let's kind of do the same thing.
I don't know
You know.
enough of his discography, but I know that song banged. So I definitely would love to have him on a track. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, why you got to cut out Kid Cudi though, man? That's my dude right
So
there.
I knew that was the answer, but I wanted a different answer.
Dude. I mean, I would definitely love to do a whole record with Justin Vernon, who's the frontman for Bon Iver. Like if he produced the album, and I could get like a Frank Ocean feature on there and like a Kid Cudi, that would be like the perfect album. Be the perfect
What
album.
about Marshmallow?
Marshmallow, I'm sure we could do a track. Honestly, like
Honestly,
that,
if he
him and
had
I,
the beat and then
yeah,
he took it over from there.
Marshmallow, if you're listening, dog, send me that beat, yo.
I get
Deja Solo 722@gmail.com.
Yes, sir. So
Bam.
you've obviously written a lot of songs.
Yes.
I'll name a few of my favorite. I have a follow up question for it. So I like the bangers. I like, obviously DL44 banger. Oh wow, Skater Girl.
Yeah.
Heaven Part 1. What is your favorite song that you've ever written? And I know that's a tough question because you've written a lot, and I know you put your heart and soul into every single song you write. at least most of them.
Mm,
What is your favorite song?
that's a great question. I would probably say "We Made It" is probably one of my favorite songs because that, to me, encapsulates me as an artist and me as a person. And those two things kind of exist mutually in that song where, I say like the song is talking about we made it. It's not talking about like having a bunch of money. It's about realizing that you have everything you need right in front of you.
Sure.
That's the second verse. I say, what's a Benz to a coupe? What's a coupe to a Benz? Cause it ain't mean nothing. You ain't got friends. We are real friends on the day low end. So it's like
That's good.
to me that's like it encapsulates me as an artist. It's
That's
like
deep.
yo, like I could literally be the greatest artist of all time. Like I have like all these Grammys, all this stuff, and you could still catch me acting the same exact way. Because to me, it's about love and it's about family. It's about like closeness. So that's probably why that's my favorite song. And like I think when I wrote it too, it was kind of an emotional time in my life, and to just be able to sing and like declare like I made it without having any like physical gains around me, that's like a powerful thing to do. So I think that's probably my top one. I think following closely though after that is definitely Blackout. I love singing that song, man. That's like probably one of my best hooks, but so far. But yeah, definitely We Made It. It's a good one.
That's awesome. Yeah, and a lot of people, no, I can't speak from personal experience. A lot of people who make it and who become famous cannot deal with the fame. And you see a lot, well, the media obviously is not always accurate as they seem to be.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
you see all these people that, have all this fame fall off and, just go off the deep end and forget about what's important in life. Obviously, like you just mentioned, family, friends, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's obviously very, very important to keep your the people that you love close to you, and really focus on what is important in life as it is short. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of people, like a lot of young kids, they'll get into this game or like we get into the idea of the fame game, because that's the thing, we live in a very different day and age. Like the kids growing up now, it's so different, bro. Like it's all about who can be the loudest and who can be like it's not even about being right no more. It's just who can be the loudest, who can pop off the quickest, who has the best this and that. And it's kind of always been that way, but now it's at like such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, and I think even you can attest to this, it was like, oh, like we had like the fads, or the phases that were going on, and they would last like a couple months. But now it's like it's like
everyone's
a 2 week turnover, bro.
Controversy.
It's like every day there's something different. So like, I feel like it's really good to inspire other artists and any like kid who's like creative listening to this. It's like, yo, just keep your grounding about you, and like the key that you should not forget is the people that know you best. It says from an Anderson .Paak Mac Miller song. People that know me best, the key that I won't forget. That's how you can stay grounded when all these people start recognizing you and loving you for your talents. It's like that's a scary place to be in. You don't want to be in a place where you're looking for strangers for affirmation of who you are. You want to be grounded, bro, in who you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. Did you take anything out of coming on here today?
No. No, I like hanging with you guys. This is cool, man.
Yeah,
I think awesome. I think doing things like this where people are sitting in the room talking.
I mean, in a way, we're collaborating right now, right? In a way, we're
100% we're collaborating because
Exactly.
it's our minds interacting with each other, and that's what I love about podcasts. When Derek asked me to do this, I was like, hell yeah! Like, of course, I want to sit down in a room with some cool creative dudes and talk about anything. Like, and for me, I think like sometimes it's important to like people you listen to, these artists, like people will go out and listen to. It's like get to know these people, get to know how they talk, how they interact, because that a lot of times can inform how you listen to their music. Like I remember there's this one time, I did not like, but rest in peace, MF Doom. I did not like his music at first, and I watched some interviews, I really listened to this dude like talk, like his mind. And I went back and listened, and I was like, this is phenomenal art. this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like this is just like untouched. So I think a lot of times podcasts are great because they give a good opportunity for people to listen to the artist from a different perspective. Like I'm not really gonna get on an album and be like, yo, this is what I think about. You know, it's like
yeah.
I'd rather create something that's abstract, you know, and can make you maybe think about something. But I love podcasts, man. This is a cool. Y'all got a cool place here too. It's like nice. It's official.
Not
Official
bad.
got the camera like. Hey,
Try to
what's
create a
up?
good
Shout
vibe.
out. What's
Yeah,
up, Mom?
yeah.
How you doing?
Shout out to mom over there.
Yeah.
No, sadly, my mom. Honestly, like even if this was a famous, like super famous podcast, like, if this was Joe Rogan, my
You mean
mom would.
when?
I would call my
When?
mom.
When?
What, that's right, and she'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, do you watch the interview? She'd be like, "I don't know."
She probably like every other mom, you know, make sure you tuck your shirt in. And
Right. She probably
don't swear.
when she finally watches, she'd be like, "Why didn't you wear something nice?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
Well, I like something interesting you said to me before we got on the air today, which was you're trying to create a persona. Remember what you said to me? You said you dressed up, you like dressed in a suit. You tried to create that Sinatra vibe.
Yeah, kind of like a Black Sinatra, man.
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing, like, I think, you know, again, I don't want to hate on any other artist or how they do their thing. I think there's some phenomenal artists and performers out there,
Mhm.
but I really want to create a new lane for like this, like for the classic man, and like, I'm not trying to be like offensive to anybody that like associates with anything or any different views, but I think that there is a necessity to have like a good father figure type of person in public, you know, because like I was saying before, artists kind of set the culture, they set the tone for a lot of what we do. So I'd love to set
Yeah.
the tone in a way that says like, hey, be an upstanding man.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, think
Put your
about how
tie
many-
on, like get your best suit, like get a suit on, you know, and act in a way that, and maybe not like act like not yourself, but like I like to carry myself like a gentleman. You know
course.
what I'm saying? Like when I'm
you act, how you-
out, and that's what my thing is like when I perform, I wear a suit because it's like people have come to engage with me. Like I have asked them to sit still and watch and listen to a well told story or a well told whatever. It's like, so I'm gonna give them my best shot. So I kind of want to create a persona that says like, you know, present yourself at your best, you know, and maybe, you know, some people don't have a suit. Some people don't even like wearing suits, but you don't really, it's not about wearing the suit really.
No,
It's
no.
about the energy. It's like,
Exactly.
you know, like I'm going to present myself at my best so that I can give you my best because I can, you know, that's a powerful, that's love, honestly, you know, so I want people to see that and to know that too. And a lot of times, like I said, like I'll do rap, you know, I'll do like rock, you know, so I also want to wear a suit to respect all the genres
Of course.
because in the sense I'm like, when people are just starting to listen to me, they don't respect me as like as a captain of that genre. The listeners are kind of the guardians at the
Yeah.
gate of all these different genres. So me showing up in a suit rapping and me showing up in a suit, you know, singing rock and roll, it kind of is a metaphor for this idea of I'm interviewing for the position of the genre that you hearing me say. So it's like you're seeing me present my best self in this mode, you know. So
I like that.
yeah, I'm always trying to, you know, be a fly guy,
Well,
you know, out there.
I like what you said too. Is I mean, there's millions of kids out there without a proper father or mother role figure in their life, and they look up to quote unquote celebrities, entertainers, athletes
Right.
for guidance, and it's their job kind of show them the way.
Yeah, man. Cause like,
So-
how many times you seen like kids, right? They have like a good upbringing. Like, ain't nothing really like they're not in the hood or nothing. Like, they're good neighborhood, you know, everything.
Yep.
And then like, but their parents are like mad strict. And like, because their parents, oh, you can't do that, you can't listen to that, don't go here, don't talk to that. And then eventually the kid is gonna form a sense of individuality.
Right.
And it's going to require them to form an identity. And what are they going to look to? They're going to look to the TV. They're going to look to
Exactly.
music. And like, if there's these guys out there that are talking, oh, you know, whatever. Yeah, maybe that's their life, but like, bro, just an example for these kids.
Exactly.
And they're looking to you for something outside of their parents. So I'd rather, if someone's going to look to music and they're going to look to Deja Solo instead of their parents, I'd want them to hear something that's like, or see something that's presentable.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that like maybe even they could like show their parents, be like, man, I really like Deja Solo. All of a sudden, their dad's rocking with me. Their mom's rocking with me. I know their mom really like me. But it's like, yeah, I'm just kidding. But but it's like, you know what I mean, though? It's like, oh, this guy presents himself that way. You know, I'm not like Lil Dookie or something. You know what I mean? It's like, this is Deja Solo, man. You know, it's presentable. So I think it always affects that too. You know, how people get raised and stuff. Because what you listen to, it really affects your mind.
Of course.
You know?
Of course. Absolutely. It's a great point.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of deep subjects, but it's really hitting the nail on the head.
A massive demographic of people.
Massive.
I mean,
It's unfortunate too, because a lot of kids these days are not being mentored by someone they look up to that is relevant in their life, opposed to looking up to like a celebrity and thinking they have to be exactly like them.
Right. And not only that, but the new rules on how to operate. And excuse me if this is too political, but I think that it's getting a little dicey on like how the world is forming around these kids. It's like they're growing up with these different ideas and these different like political ideas that are being like kind of enforced now. Mm-hmm. And it's like it becomes almost impossible to have any sort of sense of conviction these days. Like if you're convicted in something that someone disagrees with now, like they'll like crucify you. Mm-hmm. They'll crucify you for that. So it's like, how can we maintain a sense of stability and a sense of honesty in this culture? And I think the answer is artists. The answer is artists, because no one can really correct your expression. I mean, yeah, you can correct like the way that they talk and say, oh, well, what you said was offensive or hateful speech. Yeah, sure. And I'll correct that. But if you're masterfully and artistically expressing yourself, no one's going to come to you and be like, hey, come on, bro. I really didn't like that soliloquy. It's like, come on, there's a certain extent, I think, to where artists actually now have the power to influence the mind in a way that no one has been able to do before. And that's actually, it's funny, you asked me like why I get into music. That's one of my favorite questions, because that's one of the last questions they asked Jimi Hendrix before he passed. That's the little excerpt that I put in the beginning of Finis Temporum. It's one of the last, I think it's the last interview. I might be wrong. Someone can Google this. But
where they asked, I forget.
Dick Cavett asked Jimi Hendrix, said, do you think music has a meaning? And
definitely.
And that was actually his answer. He was like, yeah, definitely. I think it's good to be more spiritual soul than anything. That's my Jimi Hendrix impression.
Yeah, and then that people are gonna rely on it.
Yes, that eventually people are gonna have to rely on music for a sense of like direction and peace.
Yeah,
peace of mind.
Yep.
And that's exactly how art is. Like, we're not looking. When's you're stressed. You're gonna go listen to a politician speak? No, you're gonna put on some comedy. You're gonna listen to some music. Like that's the mind automatically goes there. And there's so much we don't understand about the mind already that makes me think that music is the way that we can actually kind of save ourselves from like art, in my opinion, is the way that we can save ourselves from destruction as humans. Like that we can learn to relate and learn to understand and comprehend instead of like always arguing about what we don't like. So I think, being a good role model is one side of it. And then the other side of it is like creating a culture. Because like we create with words, like the way that we speak, like phrases, like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I'm going to, that's a new phrase. Like this is lit, or that's, drip, like we create these phrases that become part of the culture. So I kind of want to do that. That's like something I've been working on. Like I wanted to make a soloism. It's like keep it thrift. Mm-hmm. It's like this idea of like you don't have to go so hard all the time. You keep it thrift.
Soloism.
Yeah, soloism.
I like that.
That's another. A soloism is a soloism technically.
I like that. It works for you though.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're putting meaning into it. A lot of people, especially people in the music industry, they create these songs so people can go into not go into but get out of reality, right, and just kind of hide from it,
right,
where you're just like upfront about it and just be like, yeah, this is what it is. Yep. This is how it should be. And
I try my best not to be like this is how it should be, because I try to be sensitive with that, especially with some of like my like hip hop listeners, because what some people may not understand about hip hop is that it's like there's people who think it's like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to it because it's fun, but it's like a safari jungle ride through the hood. Like, you know, you get to be inside the car and you get to see the lions and the tigers and all the scary animals, but you don't get to necessarily, you're not in danger. You watching it. For some people, it's not like this fun little music thing. It's like you're really speaking on their pain. So I try to be super careful about like being like, yo, yeah, that's how it is, yo. Because some of those people are like, no, it's not. And I want to be sensitive to that. But
Sure.
there are some things where I can be like, yo, like maybe this can have a reassessment. Like, you know, wow. I actually say that I say the sex and drugs just ain't enough. Y'all need a new do. Like how sex, drugs, and rock and roll has always been like the thing. Like, yeah. You know, we're
If
rock
you're a rocker,
stars.
yeah.
But it's like, what if we maybe switch it up? Because Mick Jagger don't look too good right now, dog.
No,
He kind of looking
they all don't
you
look
looking
good.
like a raisin right now.
They're either dead or raisins. Right?
They're either dead or they're like doing mattress commercials. Come on down, buy the Mick Jagger mattress. Like I don't want to be there, dog. I want to be either dead because I said something too inspirational, or be a statue because I said something too inspirational. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to be like these like fake drugged up dudes. Like I want to do something where it's like someone will be like, some little kids like, I want to be like Deja Solo, and they're not going to buy like no Gucci. They're like going to buy an Alan Watts book, and they're trying to like figure things out and like process their pain. They're like, yo, like this dude, like, because that's the thing is people always like, yo, look at the way this dude does this. It's so cool. It's like I want to show kids it's like, yo, it's cool. You can be deep and you can be emotional and you can still be cool as long as you're comfortable with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't let nobody tell you who you are. Don't try to be like these other people. Be you. You like wear alligator skin shoes, dog. Don't let everyone tell you that it's ugly. That it's cool. They think it's ugly. That's fine. Do it anyways.
They don't have to wear them. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I really want to encourage kids to be like they best selves. That's all this idea of like keeping it thrift. Because when you go to a thrift store, you're looking for something cool. It's not like you're looking for like the worst thing. Some people find joy in finding like the worst sweater, but like you're just trying to find something that you can still wear. So it's like this whole idea of function and fashion together. And that's why I want to take my art that way, because it's like this idea of making it functional. It's like you're not just listening, and it might be a cool beat, like, yeah, I'm rocking with this, but it's also like it's putting some ideas in your head, like, yo, maybe life isn't all about girls and cars and money. Like maybe it's really about like love, bro. Like, maybe, and that's why I don't like telling people like this is how it is. It's kind of the Buddhist concept of like find your truth, dog. Like. Yeah, like, is it true? I don't know, but it's true for me. But what is truth really? Like, like kind of that's how and that's why I have the whole symbol, with me kind of drawing like a little Buddha dude. Because I'm not trying to say I'm like nothing special, but I do know that Deja Solo represents something special for somebody that might change the world other than me,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, happiness and joy does not come from things that we can buy or whatnot. But I think this has been a awesome podcast. And
yeah, man, thanks for having me.
No. We really appreciate you coming up.
Anytime, man. Call me up anytime. Even when I'm like super famous, just call me up.
What do you mean when? We already got you on. We're good.
You're right. You're like, you already got it.
Yeah,
you
we
don't
already
need nothing else, dog.
You're already
hooked.
there.
You're hooked. We're going to get you canceled. We got blackmail on you.
No. No. We're going to get you at Lake House, man.
Oh, for sure. But no, this is amazing. Thank you guys for having me.
We're going to be live on location, so we'll come to you. We're on
Miami
location. So
down in Florida. No income tax down there, my friend.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I'll take care of you.
All right. I'll trust you, man.
No, but in all seriousness, it's been great having you on, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Much appreciated for you coming on, talking to us, taking some time out of your day. So
you can find Deja Solo on Apple Music, Spotify,
yes, sir,
YouTube, right?
Absolutely.
YouTube, Instagram,
all of that.
Hit him up, follow him, like him, subscribe, listen to his music. Also, we appreciate you guys joining in to the Dan and Tyler Show. Same thing. Please subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff. Hit the bell icon at the top of the screen.
If you don't, I will personally come and beat you. I'm just kidding. I don't beat nobody.
No.
But we'll have a serious conversation.
We're gonna have a heart to heart.
You better hit it right now. What are you doing?
All right, people. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Just hit it right now.
No, we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you very much, and join us again next time.
All right, be great. God bless.